Hi, everybody. We've got HD38 candidate, Marven Goodman. Marven, we'll just go right into the questions.
Hey, good morning, y'all, and thank you all for having me on this morning. I really appreciate that. So I guess the first question is a little bit about myself. As Jenny and I met earlier at ACOG, Association of Central Oklahoma Governments, I was a county commissioner, and I'd done that for 8 years. But prior to that, I was retired as a lieutenant colonel for the Oklahoma Military Department. And we worked there doing lots of things. I managed a $4 million budget. I was a contracting officer's technical representative for all things that had to do with information technology and networks and that sort of stuff. After I retired from there, I went to work for a little company called EDS, Electronic Data Systems. And that was started by a fellow by the name of H. Ross Perot that you might have heard of. Anyway, I really liked that guy because of the way he took care of his employees. So I did that. I self-financed all my runs for county commissioner. I didn't accept any donations from my constituents. I just self-financed my own because we were blessed enough to be able to do that. And as a grassroots candidate, I'm also not accepting any gifts or campaign donations from lobbyist groups or employees. So anything that folks could donate, those $5, $10, and $15 donations really help.
Yeah, well, we'll just go into the next question here on education and parental rights.
Yeah, so I would follow that up with a quote from C.S. Lewis. And I call this my father's mantra: to live his life his own way, to call his house his castle, to enjoy the fruits of his own labor, to educate his children as his conscience directs, to save for their prosperity after his death. These are the wishes deeply ingrained in a civilized man. And that was a quote from C.S. Lewis, and I'm really enamored with that man. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about was our public education system, I believe, is broken today. It's not the teachers union. It's not the teachers, though. It is the unions, and the teachers are being forced to teach what we call the woke broke methodology. And it seems that they continue to celebrate, especially with 551 different school districts and superintendents. They continue to celebrate failure. And thank God for Ryan Walters that we're able to get someone in there that's got a little bit of backbone and is standing up to those folks. So to homeschooling, should it be regulated in Oklahoma? Absolutely not. I don't believe in regulating anything that has to do with individual liberties or freedom. And so that's my answer to that question. And I think parental rights are important in Oklahoma. I think that quote from C.S. Lewis pretty much spelled that out for us. So I would be happy to talk about anything on education that anyone would have a question about. I also would like to ask folks to call the governor's office and politely ask him to veto Senate Bill 1122 that basically puts our superintendent of schools in the same classification as they did with Trump, where they basically put some lawfare issues on Trump and forced him to defend himself. And that's what they're doing with Ryan Walters right now. We've got Mark McBride is running rampant throughout that outfit. Yeah. And thank goodness, again, thank goodness for that he's terming out this year.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, let's move on to.
Yeah. What's your stance on Second Amendment?
Oh, okay. So Second Amendment. we were one of the first, when I was a county commissioner, we were one of the first counties to declare that we were going to allow our employees to carry while on the job. So we've got, believe it or not, we've got a few crazy folks that live out in the woods, and our road grader operators and those kind of folks were being threatened and that sort of stuff. So we looked at fixing that, and the way we did that was we had to go against the Association of County Commissioners of Oklahoma a little bit and kind of bow up with them, because they wrote all of our personnel policies because they're the ones that are responsible for insurance and all that other stuff for the counties and county commissioners. And so we were told that if we changed that and allowed our employees to do that, they would drop our insurance, which it was kind of a veiled threat, but we didn't succumb to that, and we went ahead and did it anyway. Well, what happened was there was a lot of other counties that followed suit with us, and so after that, and that caught on, then we were able to get the Association of County Commissioners to change their mind and support it.
Yeah, great. Well, let's move on next to your perspective on government spending in Oklahoma.
Well, government spending in Oklahoma. So I've got an issue with direct taxation, right? So I think direct taxation, just like our governor, sales tax and direct taxation, not sales tax, but direct taxation, property taxes and income tax is direct taxation. So that's evil. And I tell people when I'm knocking on doors that I'm in favor of doing away with property taxes and those sorts of things. And they say, well, I don't like that, because what happens is when you do away with one tax, you have to raise another tax. And I really don't buy into that premise, because I believe that we don't have a revenue problem here in the state of Oklahoma. That's evident by them putting away $1 billion a year now in savings. They should give that back to the people. So $1 billion a year in savings, we don't have a revenue problem again. We have a spending problem. And so the Oklahoma Tax Commission publishes a document every year that talks about where the money goes. And that's one of the things that I would like to talk about a little bit. Also, there are 551 school districts and superintendents in the state of Oklahoma. Now, property taxes are paid for taxes for schools. So what happens is you've got 551 offices of superintendents, but we have 77 counties. I would support going back to having county commissioners or counties superintendents instead of all of these disparate superintendents. They should be elected officials and be held accountable to the people. And so we would be able to save almost $500 million, almost $500 million a year, by cutting those out and putting those back at the counties. And we'd also be able to afford to pay to have those folks have professional folks do that work.
Well, I think Jenny and I would both 100% agree with you there. On this last question, to wrap it up here quick, how would the concept of personal liberty be important to you as a legislator? Well,
I've got this little quote from a guy that I was really interested in. My grandma was a gold bug, Barry Goldwater. And so what I would say is I would do this quote from him. I have little interest in streamlining government or making it more efficient, for I mean to reduce its size. I do not undertake to promote welfare, for I propose to extend freedom. My aim is not to pass laws, but to repeal them. It is not to inaugurate new programs, but to cancel old ones that do violence to the Constitution, or that have failed their purpose, or that impose unwarranted financial burdens. I will not attempt to discover whether legislation is needed before I have first determined whether it's constitutionally permissible. And with that, if I should be attacked for neglecting my constituents' interest, I shall reply, I was informed that their main interest is liberty, and that in that cause, I am doing the very best I can. And I promise to do that for my constituents in House District 38.
Well, that was absolutely fantastic. Tell us your district again, the date of the election, and just hit that one more time.
So I'm running for House District 38, and the election is the primary election, and that's June 18th. Gosh, that's 10 days off? Or something like that. Yeah. And so if you want to support a grassroots candidate, please go to my website. That is Goodman for House. That's all one word, no number in there. GOODMANFORHOUSE.com. And those $5, $10, and $15 donations really help us out a lot. And I appreciate all your support. And gosh, I really thank the both of you for having me on this morning. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Marvin. We really appreciate you. Thanks.
Bye.